Hello, hello, my lovely Tauruses, Taurians, however you want to say it. This is your weekly reading for February 26th through March 10th. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to pull out our cards here. 5, 6, 7. Wow, okay. You know, I will say, Taurus, when I was shuffling earlier, this 8 of Swords card came out right before I started filming. And I wasn't filming yet. I was just kind of getting ready to. I like to shuffle my cards a lot first before I start filming, because I'm usually doing a reading right before this, and I don't want cards to start popping up, you know, repeatedly from the previous reading. So I shuffle a lot. And this card, this 8 of Swords card for your Sunday energy on the very first week, did pop out while I was shuffling. And I saw this card and I was like, you know, I'm not sure. But this card came out again for your reading here. So this card, I have a feeling, is going to be very important when we get to the very end of your week here. Let's go ahead and jump right into... actually... Let me say something real quick, because I'm looking at your cards right here, and almost all of your cards are either wands or swords. So what this tells me, wands and swords are, firstly, wands are fire energy, but it's also our creative energy, our willpower, our ability to see things through, get things done. It's the creative process. And not just like creative, like creating art, although yes, it is art. It's also about, you know, making sure that we see our dreams fulfilled. It's about seeing the ultimate fulfillment of what we want to get to and putting in the hard work associated with it. And then next we have the swords cards, and swords are associated with air energy. It's also our analytical brain, our thinking brain, and it's the logic, the ability to think and reason within our mind. So a lot of what is going on for you here, Taurus, is within... It's the inside. It's not necessarily something that's happening externally. A lot of what's going on that I'm seeing for you, Taurus, is this mental game. The mental game about trying to build towards something that you want and to, you know, have the willpower to see something through. And also the, you know, the thoughts, the vision, the self-doubt, things like that. So overall, Taurus, a lot of your reading is associated with this mental mind game. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about your very first card here of the week. February 26th, on Monday, Taurus, you have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. So Taurus, I think that this was actually part of your reading for last week. And this card is associated with things not necessarily feeling as though you are unlucky. Things not necessarily going your way, I should say. The Wheel of Fortune is always turning. It's meant to indicate, you know, this continual cycle of karma, the continual cycle of action and reaction. For the Wheel of Fortune, things are always changing. And when this card shows up in the reverse, it can indicate that things may feel as though they are unlucky, or feeling as though things are not going our way, or that we're down on our luck. You may feel as though, Taurus, that you have fallen on unlucky times, that there is a lot of strife and things going wrong for you at this time. And I just want to encourage you that, you know, this wheel is always turning. And so there's always the opportunity and the chance for it to turn upright. And, you know, things can't always be on the up and up for us all the time. You know, we have our highs and we also have our lows. And so understanding and, you know, recognizing that things aren't always going to be pushing up, up, up productively for us is okay. And even though things feel really difficult or unlucky or hard right now, Taurus, trust that things will eventually turn back around. Things will eventually circle back upright, and we'll be back in this positive energy. And it's all part of the process. And this wheel is always turning, so, you know, just hang on, hang in there. Let's talk about Tuesday here, Taurus. You have the Ace of Swords. And the Ace of Swords is a new idea, a new vision for your future or yourself that you see. It's usually a new thought. So some of you could be having the new thought that things are not working and you have an idea about how to fix them. This could be a inspiration to start building something new. So maybe you have the aha moment of where you want to begin a business or begin a new venture for yourself. outside of business. Maybe you decide that it's going to be best for you to move across the country, something like that. This is that aha moment of thinking where we start to get the ideas and start to think about what this is going to look like. Then we move on, Taurus, here on Wednesday to the Nine of Wands in reverse. So Taurus, with this card being in the reverse, I feel like you are just coming out of the other side of this energy. There is this sense of tiredness, exhaustion around you. You've been fighting for a very long time to see something done, to get somewhere. And the Ace of Swords the day before almost feels like that fresh bit of inspiration, that fresh bit of movement in order to start, putting into these things. But the Nine of Wands the next day on Wednesday here feels a lot more like me to that exhaustion. I'm talking like deep level exhaustion here, Taurus. Like you have been fighting the fight for a long time. You've been putting in the effort. You've been struggling to get to this thing that you really want. And I would just caution you to not burn yourself out, Taurus. Don't burn the candle at both ends. When we want something, and Taurus especially, you are the sign that is, people label you as stubborn, but really what it is, Taurus, is that you know what you want and you will not settle for anything less than what you deserve. And so this means that when you have an idea and you really want to see it come to fruition, it means that nothing anybody or anything throws your way is going to keep you from getting to that goal. And that also means that you fight very, very hard to see the things that you want. And it is a great and admirable thing about you, Taurus, is that you will never let anybody discourage you from going where you want to go, where you know you want to be. But it also means that to get there, there are some fights that are going to be a lot harder than others. And this fight that you've been fighting, this goal that you've been trying to get to, Taurus, is weighing on you very, very heavily. And on Thursday here, we move on to the Seven of Wands in reverse. And the very next day, this is a card of reevaluating why you are fighting. This card is in the upright. It's normally a person, standing vigil against these other wands, these other people coming up against them. It's these people from down, below trying to beat you up when you're on the high ground, And with this card being in the reverse, it's saying, Taurus, you may need to take a step back and reevaluate what it is that you're fighting so hard for. Whether or not this is really worth it in the end for you to get to this place. Is this thing something that really deserves this much fight from you? Is it something that you're doing because you think that it's the right thing to do? Have you lost sight of the direction or the place that you want to be? And so, Taurus, Thursday, the very next day, after dealing with all of this fight and this energy taken from you, it's time to start thinking about whether or not where you are is worth fighting for still, and whether you want to move in a new direction. And ultimately, Taurus, let's talk about this next card here on Friday, the Seven of Swords in reverse. The Seven of Swords is very similar to the Seven of Wands in the sense that it is kind of this contemplative energy of thinking about whether or not it was worth it for you. This card is in the tarot. The Seven of Swords is a card about taking back what has been taken from you. It can almost come across to some people as like a card of revenge. Someone takes something from you, and so you go and take something from them to get back at them. And this person here is kind of holding their stuff in the dark, thinking, was it worth it? Was it really worth it to, end up taking these things from this people and causing this hurt? I got what I wanted, but was it worth it? But this is, that energy of thinking about, why have I done this? In the upright, this card can sometimes be about taking back your energy, but this is almost like trying to decide whether or not your energy, the things that you put into it, whether or not you just need to cut your losses. Saturday here, Taurus, you have the Princess of Pentacles in reverse. And this is a lot more of that energy of not... I just feel like, Taurus, there's so much going on for you. You really want something. You really want to see it done. But there is maybe this lack of motivation. The Princess of Pentacles is a person who needs to get started on something. And Taurus, you've been starting on something. You've been dealing with whatever this thing is. But I almost feel as though maybe because of your level of exhaustion or your level of this, pain and strife that you've really been trying to push past your limits, Taurus. And this Princess of Pentacles is maybe, if you found yourself in a place of struggle, it could be that you have been avoiding putting in some work in order to try and recoup something. That something is asking more work from you than what you can provide. And so you're trying to figure out whether or not you have been putting in the work into the proper portions, into the proper places. And I feel like some of you are even contemplating, as I said, definitely contemplating whether or not you're ready to move on to something else. Whether or not you need to pick up what you have, take your things, and start to walk away and walk towards something new. I feel like some of you feel as though you need to scrap what is going on and what you've been doing and try to figure out something else because it just hasn't been working for you. It hasn't been working. You still feel as though you're in this beginner space of needing to put in work towards something, but you've already been putting in work and it's been struggling so much for you that you still feel as though you haven't really made any progress. I feel like that's what this is. It's not that you haven't done anything, Taurus, because you have been. Very obviously, you've been putting in a lot of work. Yeah, I feel as though that's definitely feeling a lack of progress on your part. Now, let's talk finally about this Eight of Swords card here on Sunday for your first week. The Eight of Swords is about being stuck. And, we had that Seven of Swords here. This is, that feeling of, was it worth it? And this is kind of that energy of reaping what you sow. Of you get what you get. And sometimes we can, lay down and take this and it can end up being, us trying to punish ourselves in some way. But Taurus, I feel like this is you needing to release yourself, you needing to let go. Because the Eight of Swords is also about freeing yourself from limitations. You're surrounded by all these swords, all these things, these dangerous things that you're trying to, decide where to go. And we'll put that card close so you can see it. This person has a blindfold and some handcuffs on. So it's meant to signify that this person, surrounded by all these dangerous things, feels helpless. They don't have the sight or the vision to see themselves out of this place, and they don't have the ability to free themselves. So putting in that time, effort, and energy towards one specific thing can leave you feeling as though you are trapped because you've been putting in so much, because you've been stressing yourself out so much to try to get this thing. You feel as though you have no other option but to keep moving through it. And, I was kind of saying earlier about that reaping what you sow. You've been sowing the seed. You've been, Princess of Pentacles is literally somebody sowing the seed. They have a seed here, the pentacle, and they're meant to start planting these fields on this hill behind them. And so, planting the seed and starting to watch it grow, you feel as though you've planted it and that you've already started to put in so much effort towards this thing. You feel as though you have no other option and that you are trapped where you currently are. So ultimately, Taurus, with this Eight of Swords, you feel very trapped at this time. You feel as though you've put in so much towards this one thing, and you're just having a really hard time figuring out what you want to do. Not figuring out what you want to do, Taurus. You know what you want to do. You see what you want to do. You have this idea, and you're pushing so far for it, but you feel as though you put in too much work to give up now, and you're feeling trapped. Let's move on to week 2, because week 2 kind of has some interesting things to say about that. And I feel like that Eight of Swords card is ultimately this general feeling over encompassing the entire piece here, is that you feel trapped, Taurus, but you are only trapped within the confines of your own mind. And at any point, it doesn't matter how much work you put in towards something, because at any point you can choose to do something different. You've put in a lot of work, but if it's too much and you're not getting there and you're having a hard time and you're literally hurting yourself trying to get to this point, what good is it doing for you? Is there a good end point that you need to keep pushing through towards? Or are you just stuck in this place feeling as though if you were to quit, you'd have nothing to show for it? You'd feel as though it was a waste of your time if you were to stop doing this thing. And that's not true, because you put in the time already. It's not a waste. You put in the time already, and you take with it the wisdom from where you have already been. So let's talk about week 2 here, Taurus. On Monday, you have the Knight of Wands in reverse. And Taurus, this is definitely feeling not confident about yourself. This is you feeling insecure about the ability to see this thing through. This is a card normally where a person is so confident in themselves, they're almost overconfident. And Taurus, with this card in the reverse for you, it tells me that your confidence is struck. You are having such a hard time feeling this thing and getting to the end of it that you feel as though you've lost your ability to create, lost your ability to see your will fulfilled, see this thing brought to fruition. The wands are our personal willpower. It's literally the magic that we have within ourselves to take an idea and to birth it into fruition, into our life. It's the idea in our mind of building something and the action taken to build it into this reality. And so the Knight of Wands in reverse is you really just doubting that ability about yourself, Taurus. But as I was saying earlier, you have this uncanny, incredible willpower, Taurus. You have the incredible willpower to see whatever it is that you want done. And you just have to reconnect with that piece of yourself that understands that. And you have to reconnect with your confidence. Let's talk about your Tuesday card here, Taurus. You have the Tower. And this is usually an event within our life that breaks us down to our foundations. In order for us to start again, we have to break something down so that we can build up something new. So Taurus, there is something within this that's just not working for you anymore. And if you want to do something to make it work for you, it's going to require you to break something down first. Taurus, if you're working on a work project, if you're working towards something, it may require you to scrap it and start over from the very beginning in order for you to make something better. If this is a struggling relationship, Taurus, you may need to break something down, whether that be, going to therapy and breaking down your preconceived ideas or things about your past with each other, or whether that's breaking the relationship entirely. Something here, Taurus, needs to be brought down. It needs to be broken down so that you can redo it, because it's not working. It's not working the way that it is right now. And the Tower is you recognizing that. Whether or not this is an actual event that happens, it's at least the recognition from you, Taurus, that this is where you need to be fixing it. And this is where the heart of the matter is and where you need to fix something. Let's move on to this card here. On Wednesday, you have the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. For a lot of you, with this Pentacle card being here, this means for a lot of you, this is related to work. It can be related to a side project. It can be related to something that brings you money. Something that brings you not even just money, but like where you are building your home and your foundations. And the Nine of Pentacles being in the reverse means that Taurus, I feel like you're afraid that if you make this change, that it's going to affect your finances or affect your home life. And Taurus, sometimes we gotta go through some pain. We gotta go through, and we move on to that further here. You can't let your fear of losing this hold you back. If you're seeing that this isn't working and that something needs to be brought down, the Nine of Pentacles is your fear about your finances. It's your fear about your ability to care for yourself financially, take care of yourself, your family, whatever the case may be. If this is a work-related thing and you're scared about changing your project or updating it, you may feel as though you'll lose money, but in the end, it's going to be building something that is better anyway. It's going to be building something that may even bring you the ability to see this, in a greater expansion than if you had left it with this system that's not working. If this Tower moment is you leaving your job, it may come with the fear or a little bit of a loss of income, but in the end, is it worth it to change your job when you're struggling and fighting so hard, trying to make something work that's just not working? Then Thursday, we move on to the Three of Swords, and this is a little bit of pain. So Taurus, you know, with growth can come a little bit of pain. With change can come a little bit of heartbreak. You know, it's not easy to leave something behind, especially if it's a job that we've worked at for a while, or if it's a person that we've been with for a while, and, you know, moving on and choosing to put ourselves first because we know that we deserve better. It's painful. It's part of the growing experience. And so, Taurus, there is a little bit of pain that comes along with this. There is a little bit of heartbreak that comes along with making this choice. I would encourage you not to shy away from it, because it's part of the growth process. Our pain encourages us to grow, and it's a signal from not only our bodies, but from our souls that something is not right, and it tells us that something needs to change. And so Taurus, pay attention to where you have pain, not just physically within your body, but also pay attention to your emotional pain, pay attention to your mental pain, and yes, your physical pain, pain within your body, your heart, your back, your legs, wherever it may be. Pay attention to it because it's trying to tell you something. It's telling you something's not right and that something needs to change. Then Friday, Taurus, a little bit of leading positivity here. You have the Ten of Wands in reverse. And this is actually about choosing to lay your burdens down, or at least to take the weight off your back for a little bit. You can see from this card in the upright, this is a person who is so weighed down by the weight on their back, the load that they are carrying, that they're completely hunched over, and their eyesight isn't even on the future or the road ahead of them. It's just on their feet, about taking things one step at a time and only being so focused as to how to get through the day-to-day, step by step, piece by piece, because you're so weighed down by what's going on. You don't have the capacity to think about the future for yourself. But with this card being in the reverse for you on Friday, Taurus, this means that you're taking an opportunity to lay these burdens down temporarily. So taking some time to, you know, take a break from your work, take a break and enjoy yourself for a little bit so that you can come back to and revisit this later. Because we're not always meant to be carrying this heavy weight all the time. So Taurus, something on Friday here gives you the ability to take a break, take a breath, and even though this Ten of Wands isn't completely going away, you know, there's still this weight here. It's at least not something that is weighing you down so heavily on this day. Saturday, Taurus, you move to the Knight of Cups. And this is a little bit more of that positive energy about being in your emotions, being in love. If you have a partner or you have something that does bring you happiness, fulfillment, kind of fills up your cup a little bit. You know, since this is the Knight of Cups, this is something that kind of helps you build back up your resources. This is you taking care of yourself. You know, as I said, taking the time out to lay down your burdens this weekend and to not focus so much on the things weighing you down. So you may end up, you know, going out with friends if it's something that fills your cup. You may take the time to do something that you like, playing video games, reading a book, or doing a yoga class, whatever it is that brings you happiness, brings you a little bit of lightness and fulfillment and refills your cup. And so, you know, Taurus, getting your mind really off of that confusing, painful energy that's been kind of going on for you a little bit here. Then Sunday, ending Sunday here, Taurus, we have the Five of Wands. So Sunday, getting ready to go back into your work week the following day, you may be feeling some conflict here within your thoughts, within your mind, or within being pulled in so many different directions. So Taurus, try not to let your Sunday be full of these thoughts about what you should do on Monday. Leave Monday's problems for Monday and try to enjoy your Sunday while you have it. The Five of Wands is, you know, as we said, conflict. Sometimes it's conflict with other people, but most often this is conflict within ourselves. Feeling as though we have so many different directions that we're being pulled in, so many different things to do. And as I said, you know, try not to let it get to you. Try not to think too hard about your Sunday, your next day, because the problems are still going to be there when you get there. You don't want to ruin all of your positive energy from the day before, filling up your cup, by depleting it before you even have to deal with it. So Taurus, Anyway, that is your reading for this week. Thank you for being here today. I really feel you guys, and I hope that you have a good week, that you take some time out to really think about what is going on, what's working for you and what isn't. And especially that you listen to that Knight of Cups card and you take some time to put back into yourself and into your heart. So anyway, Taurus, thanks for being here and enjoy your week.